This is Viterbi Voices, the podcast, your chance to hear stories about research, classes, student life, and more directly from our faculty, students, and other members of the engineering community here at the University of Southern California.
This is episode 117 and another installment in our ongoing series, This Viterbi Life, brought to us by Luz. Tune in for a behind-the-scenes look at Freshman Academy, one of the first classes all engineering students take here on campus, led by upperclassmen and professors across all Viterbi departments.
Welcome back into Viterbi Voices. This is episode
117.
117. As usual, I am one of your co-hosts. My name is Paul Ledesma, Director of Undergraduate Admission here at the USC Viterbi School of Engineering.
And my name is Ria Chowdhury. I'm a senior studying biomedical engineering here at USC. And we have a guest here. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Luz Camacho. I'm a sophomore studying computer engineering and computer science.
Oh, Luz, welcome to the podcast world. What do you think?
It's neat. Talking to people is cool.
I'm glad it's neat.
I got to talk to my friend for like an extended period of time, so that was cool.
That's cool. Okay,
Yeah.
good stuff. Got to record it down and get some cool things going. Yeah. Luz, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so currently involved in a couple things on campus. I spend a lot of time with the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers and the Society of Women Engineers, both organizations under the Center of Engineering Diversity at USC. And, I spend a lot of time on leadership, planning events mostly for the student body and also doing a lot of outreach, making sure that people in the community around LA are being serviced, especially like I grew up in a high school that didn't have a lot of opportunity for STEM outreach. So, I spent a lot of time doing that with these organizations. Yeah.
That's really cool because you're originally from Bell Gardens.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay, so in the local area here.
Southeast LA.
Southeast LA.
Yeah.
Okay. And you are a sophomore, correct?
Yeah.
Did you say this? Did I hear this? I'm sorry. I'm really excited because I got my coffee and it's the afternoon and it's like I feel like
It's a wake-up call.
That's
really
great.
great.
Yeah, I know.
It's rejuvenating.
I'm so sorry. So Luz, you have been here for 2 years now, and you've also done some interning as well. Who have you worked for? You're wearing a T-shirt right now that
I may or may not be wearing a T-shirt.
Wait a minute. What?
I am.
Luz,
You are wearing.
everyone.
Let's be clear. You are wearing a T-shirt.
Podcast people may or may not. They could be like a tank. They don't know.
Okay, that's
it's
true.
a T-shirt.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
clarifying. So
This has got awkward really quickly.
Okay, anyway, Luz.
yeah. So this summer, I spent half of it with Facebook, the shirt I'm wearing, and the prior half going into spring semester, I was at NASA JPL down in Pasadena. So that was neat.
The Facebook shirt you're wearing is super cool. What is it? Is it because that's Facebook LA headquarters? Like that? Is that what that's all about? Because it's like a LA Hollywood landscape with Facebook logo.
Yeah.
Funny story. So Facebook likes throwing money at their interns sometimes, and they just invited us to Hollywood, like Universal Studios Hollywood.
Oh, like a day?
Yeah, they bought us the tickets. They're like, here, show up. And then, we just kind of went and we got free T-shirts and stuff.
That's so nice.
So that whole shirt you're wearing is just like, hey, Facebook interns are going to go to Universal Studios for the day, so you get this really cool, like...
Basically.
So they made a shirt for the occasion.
Yeah.
It's a really cool shirt.
It's a good shirt.
We might need to get a picture of this to put up or something.
This can be the cover photo for the episode. This is the shirt.
Yeah. So, Luz, you bring your own episode to us. Tell us about this episode. What is it all about?
So the purpose of this episode is to, like, clarify exactly what Freshman Academy is. I work with a lot of, I talk to a lot of prospective students around, and, when we mention Freshman Academy, like, oh, what did your freshman year look like? I'm like, oh, I spent, first semester in Academy and had lots of fun. They were like, what's Academy? So, this is kind of like the purpose of the episode, I got to talk to Freshman Academy coach, which was basically, as I go into the episode, a glorified word for a TA, essentially for the class. But we like to think that we're more than that. So
well, you
coaches.
do more than
we do more than just regular TAs. We're human people.
TAs are not though. TAs are robots.
Well, we try to personalize the role. I guess be more personal in the role. And I got to talk to a freshman who was part of my freshman academy class. I was a coach last year. Had lots of fun doing that, and now she just decided, I reached out to her and was like, hey, I hope you had a good experience in academy that I was responsible for. So I reached out, and she decided to come on over, and she talked about her experience and like what her favorite parts of academy were and her biggest takeaways. So yeah.
And to clarify for our audience, the Engineering Freshman Academy is a class that you take as an incoming freshman in your fall semester, which is a complement to your introduction to a specific discipline. And it kind of just helps you understand more of the world of engineering as a whole, the profession of engineering, and also starts addressing some of the grand challenges. So you interviewed one of your students who had gone through Academy this year, and then you also interviewed another one of the Academy coaches, correct?
Yeah, my coworker.
Your coworker.
My coworker.
Oh, your co-coach?
Yeah, my co-coach.
Okay, cool. And so I think what is something that I think what do you think is the biggest takeaway from Freshman Academy that our students get as they come through their freshman year?
Mm-hmm. I think it will vary from person to person, but I think generally most people agree, at least in retrospect, they see that, wow, I got to sit in a classroom full of different engineers, and that's not necessarily an experience you're going to get
because you're not taking this class with your same major, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're taking this class with like sitting next to BME, Chemi, mechanical. You're sitting to across with like Viterbi. You're sitting. You have a class with your Viterbi counterparts. So just being able to collaborate and being able to being introduced to like the field or the big general concept of engineering is often like super valuable, at least for me. Like I came to USC, what's an engineer? I like math and science, hit the box. So, being exposed to that before, being tossed into the deep end of the pool, I think is what most people say that was their biggest value out of Freshman Academy. And I would personally say that was my biggest takeaway.
What was your biggest takeaway of what did you enjoy the most of being a coach?
Being able to connect and be a resource for people who may be a little lost. I got like sometimes Sarah and I, my co-coach that I interview on this podcast, we would stay like half an hour extra just talking to our students
after class.
Yeah, just like after class, like, hey, like they would come up to us like, hey, you mentioned your internship at Facebook. I'm just wondering, like, I was also in your shoes like last year, so I got this internship as a freshman, and they were like, what can I do to secure something like that? Or they would talk to me about housing or about even roommate problems and stuff like that. So we just being able to connect on a personal level more than maybe what a regular TA does, which is probably why we're called coaches.
Kind of somewhere between that big sister and that mentorship role.
Yeah.
It's like somewhere in between those two things. Like it's not officially a mentorship, but it is this really great program opportunity to get to know you, because you're all pros at that point. Once you've been through freshman year and you can answer some of those questions. And when they have important questions about where can I get a really cool Facebook T-shirt like that, those are the things that you need to answer.
And I say the bargain bin, and they're like very confused. I'm like, thrifting in LA, it's a thing. But
cool. Well, we'll get out of the way here in just a minute, but we wanted to make sure that we put you through our tradition of asking a certain amount of questions. I don't know if you've been listening to the podcast lately, Luz, but when we bring someone new into this room, we got to go through our lightning round questions. Okay. So Rhea has some ready there.
Yes, I'm actually ready this time.
I saw you get ready, and I was like, good, we're on the same page.
Okay.
So there's no time limit, but you have to answer these as fast as you can.
Okay.
Giving presents or getting presents?
Giving presents.
If you had a child, what would you want them to be the most popular person in their high school?
No.
Make a high-pitched sound.
Oh my God.
That was high-pitched. That was kind of scary. From 1 to 10, how hot do you like your shower water?
Oof, solid 7.
Solid 7?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I'm like a 9.5. Like, I want my skin to be burning.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Seriously.
I'm okay. The shower is a great place. Do you like the smell of gasoline?
Yes.
Me too. Can you touch your toes without bending your knees?
Yes.
Do you know the definition of triskaidekaphobia?
Absolutely not.
Me neither. Have you ever tasted soap?
Yes.
If you were given an all-expenses-paid trip to Cleveland, would you take it?
Yes. I was
Are you
Cleveland.
hesitant?
I was at Cleveland for a convention, so I'm like, do I want to go back?
Sold
if it's
on
all
Cleveland?
expenses, like we're
All
here.
expenses,
Yeah.
right? No
Yeah.
losses. Do you currently own any stuffed animals?
Yes, Kermit the Frog.
How large?
He's about the size of my head.
It's a weird metric.
Oh, it is a weird benchmark. It is weird. About the size of my head. It is a weird metric.
Size.
Ask permission or beg forgiveness?
Ask permission.
What's the maximum number of spritzes of perfume before it's too much?
Probably like 2 max.
If the toilet paper roll is really low but not completely out, do you replace it or leave it for someone else?
I leave it. I'm
Wow,
a terrible
not
person.
going to be Luz's roommate in the future.
Whoops.
All right, last one. Climb a mountain or jump from a plane?
Climb a mountain. Put
Cool.
the work in. Yeah.
All right, that was our quick fire question.
For the record, triskaidekaphobia is the fear of the number 13.
Interesting.
Oh, solid.
Triskaidekaphobia. I get the tri and the deca. I wonder what triska is.
Like why it's not called tridecaphobia?
Yeah, why isn't it called tridecaphobia?
Let's ask the Romans, because it's probably their fault.
It's always their fault.
Yeah.
Them and their Latin roots.
I don't know. So many things. We have to make a whole episode
We'll
on
have
that
to answer
now.
this next episode.
Coming next time. But now let's get out of the way for Luz and her exploration of the Freshman Academy course.
First up, an interview with Sarah Mulkowski, my co-coach.
This is my very first podcast, so I do want to thank you for coming out. Pulled those coworker strings. To get
Happy
me
to be
but,
here. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Sarah, for being here. And yeah, just can you give us a little bit of an introduction, your major, and what you do around campus and stuff like that?
Definitely. So my name is Sarah Mulkowski. I'm a senior studying, so in those last few weeks now, studying biomedical engineering. On campus, I am obviously a freshman academy coach. I had the pleasure of working with Luz. And then I've also had a kind of a wide variety of other involvements, from working in Dr. Chung's research lab to playing on the women's ice hockey team. So definitely getting that engineering plus in.
Yeah, engineering plus, definitely. Like, when you told me you did hockey, like, when we were coworkers, I was like, how does one even...
Yeah,
skate?
not well, that's for
One
sure.
doesn't do hockey well, of
Yeah.
course. I'm like, I don't even understand hockey. It's like me with any other sport. Like,
Nah.
general objective, get this to
puck to goal. There you go. That's all you
to
need.
goal. Got it. Yeah, so you tossed in the word freshman academy coach
Yeah, always
out
gotta
there,
drop it.
so always gotta drop it. You know, for a lot of the people who may be listening to this podcast, you know, the word freshman academy is very foreign. So, like, how... I think I want to put that out there. Freshman Academy is a class, but it's kind of unclear for many people, like, what kind of class it is. So what's the purpose of it? So could you, in your own words, like, maybe explain what Freshman Academy is?
Yeah, absolutely. I was in that same boat coming in to USC 4 years ago now. What is Freshman Academy? I don't think anyone really knows until they get there, which is always kind of so exciting because, you know, I've seen it both as a student and as a coach. And so I think Freshman Academy really is a full package for, like, if there was a big balloon arch that freshmen walk through or first year students walk through as they start USC, that arch, that, like, strong foundation is definitely Freshman Academy. It has this kind of full package approach where you learn, you know, a little bit about what the different fields of engineering are. You get first-hand experience working with, you know, world-renowned professors, and then you also get to learn, and I think this is the most important thing, how to be an engineer. So outside of what is biomedical engineering, what is computer science, more so, how do I be an engineer? What is engineer? So I think that really, it's a huge opportunity that I think so many students realize, unfortunately, afterwards. They're like, holy cow, Freshman Academy, that was a really cool, it's almost an immersive experience.
Mm-hmm. Right. Like, I think they should just rename the class to be, like, How to Engineer 101, right?
No kidding, honestly.
And, like, something, you know, and engineer is, like, broad, and we, you know, as my experience as a coach and also, like, as someone who went through the class itself, I got to meet so many, like, cool people. Yeah. You know, it's, like, really outside of your discipline. Like, I don't think I would have interacted with as many BMEs as I did.
No, it's so cool.
Like, in one class. So, yeah, definitely really neat. So, you know, that was my experience as an undergrad, but now as a coach, what's that? What's a coach, right?
So a coach is kind of a loose term for a TA, but we don't want to have that kind of connotation
That's
towards
a nerd
it.
language,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, no kidding. And so a coach is more of a mentor, a built-in person that first-year students have the opportunity to go to and really kind of almost not hold their hands, because, you're all adults. Too, but really kind of pull them into the Viterbi community and that Viterbi family. And so really kind of show the ropes of, here we have our material on how to communicate like an engineer, how to design things like an engineer, how to problem solve. But then on the other side, it's how to socialize as an engineer, how to get involved as an engineer. Sometimes those questions, at least for me when I came in, had no idea what the clubs on campus are. I had no idea, what kind of groups I could join. And so that kind of opportunity that freshman academy coaches give their students is really just, hey, I'm part of this club. You're interested in that? Oh, you should talk to my friend here. So it's that kind of really just immersing them into that Viterbi community.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Like, outside of the classroom, I know you and I also gave a lot of advice.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is how you Viterbi, right?
This is Viterbi.
Yeah.
What is Viterbi?
So, like, within the class, can you explain, like, maybe, like, things that you do within the classroom and things that you do outside of the classroom in terms of roles for the coach?
Yeah, so as a coach, we work extremely closely with the professors and have kind of a curriculum for the semester where, as I mentioned a little earlier, the professors will really dive into things like the grand challenges and how to explore those problem spaces and, how to communicate like an engineer. And then the coaches, we get to do the fun stuff, and we'll have hands-on activities planned, presentations on things like housing, because no one knows where to live sophomore year.
Especially in Los Angeles.
Never.
Gets a little nuts.
And so that's kind of, I think, one of the really special things about Freshman Academy is you get not only the experience of what is engineering, but also, how do you USC engineering and how that's different, and really give that opportunity to give students that other side that they may not necessarily pick up from their class. Well, they won't pick up where to live on campus from their classes. So
right.
That definitely, I think, is a huge edge to Freshman Academy. And then in terms of things we do outside of class is we put on just kind of fun activities. Luz and I took our students to In-N-Out.
Yo, we gotta use that budget.
Gotta use the budget.
That means a lot of free food.
Yeah, free food. We put on all kinds of like study events, study days, game nights, all kinds of cool stuff. And then, yeah, there's huge opportunities with Freshman Academy for lectures. We had Megan Smith, who was the Chief Science and Technology Officer for the Obama administration. And so she comes and talks, and we had other professors come and talk about their research and whatnot. So it really is kind of a full experience, and I can't understate that it's really an immersion into Viterbi to kind of see, like, wow, this is all Viterbi, and that's so cool.
Yeah. So I definitely agree. Definitely felt like that as an undergrad.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, engineering's large, I guess.
No kidding.
But I also got, the student side of things. I met a lot of different coaches. I met Daniel, who's also a podcaster, and he's also the person who recommended
Everyone
me
knows Daniel.
to Viterbi student ambassadors, and now we're sitting here. So domino effect.
No, it's wild.
Like,
it's really crazy how Viterbi really exemplifies that. It's who you know. It's who you get involved with. It's how how you get involved, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and we've definitely seen our students outside of
class.
All the time.
Like,
they're in our clubs
all
now.
The time.
It's like, I'm not your coach here.
Yeah, at this point, they've got, higher positions on clubs than I do, because I'm on my way out, and they're just on their way in, and it's awesome to kind of see that transition and see, help people out along the way.
Yeah, so what does a typical day in Freshman Academy look like?
Yeah, so again, kind of working with professors, in my experience, a lot of time the class has been split. So the first half, the professor will lecture on, communication or design or problem solving. And then the second half, that second hour, because it's 2 hours once a week, quick and easy. The second half, the coaches will have to either put on some kind of hands-on activity where you could be building, having a bridge competition or a Rube Goldberg. Or doing those housing or meditation presentations for mental health and things like that. So it's the syllabus is pretty flexible, and I've worked with Professor Maddox 2 years, and he's a extremely well-renowned engineering and education professor. And he, at the beginning of the first class, he opens up the floor and just asks, what do you want out of this class? You know, what to the students, and what kind of things do you expect from this class, and what kind of things do you think you need help in? And that conversation keeps coming up along the way, and so it's really flexible, and we really try to cater to exactly what the students want.
Yeah, we definitely talked to Maddox a couple times, like, hey, you know, I don't think our students are as receptive to this as opposed to this, and, like, he's changed the syllabus on us.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Like, it's more reflective of, like, this class's value, so it was really cool and really unique.
No, without a doubt.
Yeah, so you've been with Freshman Academy for a while now.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit, and now you are what we call a quote-unquote head coach.
Yes.
So can you maybe go into detail as to what that kind of entails outside of just being a coach?
Yeah, definitely. So I think one of the most exciting parts about coaching is also the coach community. So you see, not only do you kind of mentor your students, you get tons and tons of mentorship from the other coaches, because there's about 30 of us. And so those kind of experiences, we really try as a lead coach to pull all these coaches in and have like a one cohesive unit. And I think that really strengthens Freshman Academy as a class by having, I don't know about many other classes where all the TAs are really on board, you know, they meet once a week, you know, they're always talking on campus. I can't tell you how many coaches I run into on a daily basis. And so as a lead coach, I've had, you know, the wonderful opportunity to be able to meet all the coaches, talk to them. We put on activities for our weekly meetings. We try and really, you know, from an administrative standpoint, keep kind of Freshman Academy together and working. And so, yeah, it's been a great experience with that. And I highly recommend anyone listening that's at Viterbi and has been through the Freshman Academy class to apply to be a coach and really, you know, be excited about that, because it's almost a huge community within Viterbi to be a coach, and that's definitely been one of my favorite experiences at USC.
Okay, I definitely saw the plug there. I'm not going to say that
Dropping
I didn't
the plug.
See it. But, you know, I 100% again agree, as someone who has also been a coach.
Yeah.
You know, whenever we had issues with, not so much issues with our class, but like unique challenges, you know, this student is facing X problem, and I've never had this experience. We would just reach out, put it in the group me, you know, like.
It's funny, after 3 years, it's always a new problem. No one ever has the same
You're
problem.
like, oh God, unique experience. Wow.
Yeah.
You know, and we reach out and we find answers to to problems that we may not have encountered before. And we're a super cute squad.
Oh, yeah.
We go get dinner together. We went through those 7 a.m. meetings together.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So we were all there.
Squad up.
Solidarity, squad. Really, really, really cute.
Yeah.
So, yeah, now that you've elaborated more on, you know, Freshman Academy, you know, from an outsider's perspective, some people may say, like, hey, wait, this isn't, like, hard math or hard science or hard skills. Like, why is this even a class? Like, why is this part of, like, the foundation of engineering at Viterbi? And if maybe you could speak on, like, what makes Freshman Academy so unique that, like, the school bothers putting it in its curriculum.
Oh, gosh, yeah. I really can't understate the importance of it, because I think without Freshman Academy, you see a lot of students, I think, who would be completely lost, who may not, you know, immediately have that personality to go up and talk to somebody who's an upperclassman and have an idea of, hey, like, what professor should I take for this? Or is this class really hard? Should I take OChem with biology? Don't take OChem with biology,
Answer
people.
to your question.
But I think, you know, having kind of a built-in mentor, and it's been cool because I've had a lot of students from previous years come back to me. So it really is that kind of person that if they have a question and they feel like they don't have anyone to go to, you always have your Freshman Academy coach to go to, no matter how big or small your question is. And so I think having that foundation of both somebody to help you, but also learning kind of I don't like saying soft skills of engineering, but essentially the soft skills of engineering is super important. And one of the big things with Freshman Academy, too, is that introduction to the grand challenges. And I don't think anyone would argue that there is some problem that could not be tied into the grand challenges that students are working on now. And, you know, scientists and researchers and engineers and computer scientists are all working towards these grand challenges. So having that idea planted in your head, not literally, don't worry.
Open it
having,
up.
having that idea
Toss it in there.
kind of planted in your head and having that carry through your 4 years has definitely changed my view on, all my involvements and everything that I've been able to do at USC.
Yeah, these soft skills are not, quote unquote soft skills are not to be underestimated.
Oh gosh,
at
no.
all.
If you can't talk to somebody, guess what? You're not gonna get a job.
Yeah, you're not gonna get a job. You're not gonna
I
work
think those
well.
kind of skills being, introduced, you're aware of it and can work through it for 4 years. And I think I of course biased, but I'm a huge believer in the Freshman Academy program.
Yeah. Working in a team is so important.
So important.
And when you're in a class with people across different disciplines, introduced to a common goal, which we define as the engineering grand challenges.
Yeah.
That's super, super awesome. Or as the kids would say, lit. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that.
Who says the cool kids say? We can edit that.
Okay. This is coworker shaming. So, as coaches, we work with a lot of freshmen and, brand new students to Viterbi. So for any of the either current freshmen at Viterbi or potential incoming freshmen, do you have any hot takes or good tips?
Hot takes.
For how to prepare for, Viterbi or college life in general, or maybe like how to get the most out of their freshman academy experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if I could say one thing, it's definitely take advantage of your freshman academy coaches. Mooch them for all they're worth. They have
open books.
A breadth of knowledge from, that individual to all the coaches to all their friends and all their activities. Their people are there for you, and I think that's one of the coolest things about Viterbi. And so having that opportunity to be able to have someone who can connect you with someone who can connect you with someone is pretty incredible. I guess another thing I see always with new students coming in is everyone is anxious to get a job. Everyone's anxious to get an A. Everyone's anxious to join as many clubs as possible. And my biggest piece of advice always is take things in stride. Work out of your comfort zone. Don't just take leaps and bounds. And so it's important, obviously to try new things, but don't overload yourself in that first semester. Really take things in stride and find the things you're interested in and give them a try. And there's nothing wrong with not liking something you get involved with, and, at the end of the semester, have a nice day. Move on to the next thing.
Thank you next.
Thank you next. Yeah, no kidding, right? Break up with your club. I'm bored. But I think, definitely take things in stride. Take things at your own pace. And 4 years goes so quick. So don't waste your time doing things you don't want to.
Yeah. 4 years is very, very short when you
short.
actually think about it.
If anyone's interested in funding a fifth, let me know. I'll stick around.
Yeah, plug for the master's fund me, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, well, I think that's about it. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time of your glory days of second semester.
Final days.
To speak with us, and thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Always happy to plug Freshman Academy.
Next up, Natalie Chrysler, one of my former Freshman Academy students.
Thank you for agreeing to do this interview.
Of course.
Life after academy, we have to reminisce a little bit. So
a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yes.
Go ahead and, please, tell us your name, your major, maybe a couple things you do on campus.
Okay, I'm Natalie Kissler. I'm a freshman, biomedical engineering major. I have a pre-med emphasis, so I'm trying that out so far. On campus, one of my main involvements is 3D 4E. My project team is printing, or actually we just delivered it last weekend, a 3D printed dog wheelchair for a French bulldog that has paralyzed back legs. Yeah, it was so cute. So that's been like a whole year project, and last week we just delivered it to him, and like he was running down the street in the wheelchair, and it was so cute. I felt like it was like when my parents saw me walk for the first time, like that was how they felt. I thought I was gonna cry.
I want to see pictures.
Yeah, I have so many.
I
I'll show you.
genuinely want to see pictures.
Oh, totally. I have so many. So that is something that has been so rewarding. I have no 3D printing knowledge before that, so like that was incredible. It's been an incredible experience. That I'm also a member of Pi Beta Phi sorority. That's something kind of new that's been fun and definitely keeping me busy. Also, I'm involved in SWE and ASBME. along with being involved in Spoon University, which is like a food organization on campus. Yeah, I would say those are my main. I have a couple mentors in the programs, but main involvements.
Probably really, really busy all the time. So again, thank you.
Of course.
How are you? How's
I'm
post-academy
doing good.
life treating you?
It has been a whirlwind, but it has been treating me well. I'm having kind of like an identity crisis that freshman year is almost over. I've just loved it. But really, it feels like I was just in academy yesterday. But just been packed full of good stuff, I guess. Can't complain. The sun is out.
Yeah, no.
Doing good. It makes studying a little bit easier, I think, for sure.
It's not raining constantly.
Yes.
So that's
I liked the rain, though. It
felt
kept it
good.
interesting.
As an Angelino, quote unquote, I was really, really shook. I was like, oh my God, it's raining all the time.
Yeah.
But sun's back. She's back for good.
Yes.
Hopefully. So awesome. Yeah. So you just mentioned Freshman Academy, which is a great segue for what I'm about to ask you. Every at the end of the day, what the point of Freshman Academy is to introduce people to not only Viterbi and USC and college life in general, but to also introduce freshman engineers to the engineering grand challenges. And I think that really is what helps make a freshman academy experience unique. So if maybe you could talk a little bit about the engineering grand challenge you decided to tackle, or what you learned about these things during your time in Freshman Academy.
Yeah, so coming into college, I really had no idea what engineering was. I liked math and science and basically just checked the box saying I wanted to be an engineer. And so coming into academy and being put on a task like this to discover, to discover and also work on a grand challenge was really interesting for me. Something that really stuck out to me with my experience was Professor Maddox always talked about a problem space and having this huge problem that might not have an answer, but identifying a smaller problem within that space and working just a little bit towards it, which is something that really, for me, embodies the whole engineering mindset that you just kind of have to learn as you go through your curriculum, and that's what's going to help you in your career, which I feel like that really became clear to me in academy. So for my project, we worked in the grand challenge of was it solar energy or preserving or tackling that? Yeah. So our project was it was kind of an already existing solutions, you could say, but making portable solar powered generators that kind of functioned as a carpet type, so it could be rolled up and taken into areas specifically near the equator where they have lots of access to sunlight, where they could kind of roll out these solar powered generators in these disaster areas and provide extra energy for them to help their recovery effort. So that was kind of our task. And again, this is already a pre-existing model, if that makes sense. But just kind of identifying the problems, where it could be implemented, how we could kind of make it our own, was just a very cool experience and something that I hadn't been exposed to before.
Yeah. Regardless of whether the idea of solar powered generators existed elsewhere, there's a reason it's still labeled, or the idea of sustainability is still labeled as a grand challenge problem, is because maybe solutions like that aren't accessible and or affordable,
right.
All part of the engineering problems, how to make it cheaper, how to make it available to more people, et cetera. But yeah, no, glad that you got to explore the engineering mindset a little bit there. That actually really makes me happy, because I was the same way. I didn't really know what engineering was. I'm I guess I'm good at math.
Yeah.
I can do an integral.
Yes. Most people I feel that I've met, it's very common experience for sure.
Yeah, no. Yeah. And we get to explore it during Freshman Academy, so I think that's what I got the most value out of Freshman Academy.
Totally.
Yeah. So another one of your responsibilities as a Freshman Academy student was to attend our All Academy lectures, where we had visiting lecturers either from within Viterbi faculty or alumni, or people who just wanted to come speak at USC, come and talk to the freshman class of Viterbi. So maybe you can speak on what your favorite speaker was, or the biggest takeaway from that lecture. Yeah,
so I really enjoyed the lectures. It was kind of just nice having an event planned for you where you could just kind of go and learn without expectations of writing a paper or getting the grade or something. My favorite lecture was probably by the astronaut. Yeah, so that one was so interesting. Obviously, growing up, everyone, you know, has exposure to astronauts in space and, like, how cool they are, but this is my first time ever, like, getting to hear one speak in person and really hearing, like, the nitty-gritty and, like, hard, demanding work behind being an astronaut. It's super, I don't know, like, fantasized, I guess, in pop culture, but really, like, the science and, like, engineering and, like, honestly, like, brute strength that goes behind being an astronaut was something that was really astounding to me. And he was so funny. He, like, made us laugh. Like, he was talking about hard, like, concepts and, like, physics and things, and then you'd throw in, like, a punchline or something. I just liked that he kept it light, and because I think he understood that, like, these are supposed to be, like, informational and fun, and so I thought that was something. It was just good to get exposure to something that you don't get in the classroom, or, like, you might not get any time else. So that was something I really enjoyed about the lecture. And also, like, before the lecture, they had the pizza dinners, which was fun because
food is great.
Yeah, free food, always amazing. A lot of bonuses about Engineering Academy is the food, which is a great thing in itself. But also just getting to talk to people, especially that first semester, where you kind of have all the engineers, like, together. It's kind of beneficial. Just, like, seeing familiar faces and making connections. Like, I see some people now, I'm like, oh, yeah, like, you're an engineer. Like, you have that little bond, you know, like, unsaid bond. So, yeah, that was a benefit of those, too, for sure.
Yeah. I will look up the name for the astronaut later. I'm pretty sure it wasn't Sandra Bullock, though.
Yeah, it might be a different one.
A different astronaut.
Different astronaut. I never saw the movie, actually, Gravity.
You should watch it.
I know,
it's so
I need
good.
to. I don't watch a lot of movies here, but I need to get back on it.
Astronauts, man.
Yeah,
they're nuts.
astronauts.
They're crazy.
I'm intrigued now. I mean, he set me on the path, so
yeah, no,
we'll see.
Maybe one day. Yeah.
There was, like, a brief moment where I was like, whoa, should I switch to astro or, like, aeronautical? Like,
yeah,
ooh,
it's time to be an aerospace major.
Time aerospace. But, you know, I'm going to stick with my path for now. Yeah.
I'm glad he at least piqued your interest in the field, right?
He did, yeah.
Cool, yeah. So you've done all these things within Academy, and you got to explore both the engineering mindset and then maybe real engineers that came and spoke to you, to you guys. What do you think, though, at the end of the day, now that you're post-Academy life, was the biggest takeaway, whether it be a hard skill or soft skill, or otherwise, that you got, or the biggest value out of Freshman Academy that you feel now after Freshman Academy?
I would say there are many. One of the biggest ones was I came from a very small high school where our teachers knew our names, knew our family, kind of pieced you through the whole year, whole high school experience. And then coming into high school, you're just, college, you're thrown into this big pool. And then you're thrown into another bigger and more scary pool with engineering, especially people like me that had no idea what I was getting into. So Engineering Academy, one of the most valuable things was, like, walking into class every day and having someone who, like, knew my name, and, like, both my coaches and you and also Professor Maddox, like, having someone just, like, recognize you and kind of, like, ask you how you're doing, like, make sure to check in was something that was very valuable to me, and I didn't really realize that until, like, now. Kind of, like, sometimes you just crave that, like, personal connection and, like, lasting, like, relationship, but also, like, being thrown into that engineering environment, it's hard to automatically just switch into thinking how an engineer should think. And I feel like Engineering Academy to me was super vital, even though I didn't always realize it, but it really did get me thinking like an engineer, and started, like, stimulating those types of problem-solving skills and, like, group work, and also just, like, helping integrate me into, like, the lifestyle that I'm going to be having these next 4 years, which was something, like, with the workshops and things. I would say, if anything, Engineering Academy helped me, like, feel more, like, peace of mind and being, like, prepared to take on the engineering world, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
And so that was something super valuable. I liked that it was kind of clear in Engineering Academy that, like, it's okay not to have it all put together, which is something that was very, like, impressive on me, just because, like, I feel like there's this huge stereotype in college where you have to, you know, get A's in all your classes, you have to know where you're going next and exactly how you're doing it, and have an internship and have a job, like, right when you start college, which is just not the reality of it. And so I think, like, Engineering Academy, again, was, like, that bridge between high school and college that, like, kind of just, like, was there for you to be, like, it's okay not to have it all figured out, like, everyone is together, like, figuring it out, and, like, maybe, like, your whole life, like, it's not all gonna be, you know, figured out, and it's more of a time for like exploration. So I think like through all the activities, all like the engineering grand challenges project, like just like focusing on that exploration and getting comfortable with like the unknown was something. I kind of jumped around a lot. But.
Yeah, no, I think you took. I'm very glad that you took away like the basic spirit of the class, right? So
I'm hoping,
yeah. No, it's just
it did take some reflection. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like right after class, you're like, okay, like I did it, like done. You know, like another
hour of my
checkbox.
life is done.
Yeah, like another checkbox, like off the course list, like your 2 units. But yeah, for sure. Like after like reflecting back, like yeah. I think so. For sure. Mm-hmm.
So just the pressure of like not necessarily like you have to do problems 1 through 5 tonight.
Right.
Is just introduction and not throwing you into the deep end of the pool kind of thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it was like a good constancy. Like through all the craziness of my other classes, like it was nice. Like although it did have its work, like it was more like work that I like wanted to do or like was interested in. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm really glad that was the takeaway. So now, again, we're coming to a wrap at this academic year at USC, and you've done your time mostly as a freshman. You have yet to experience finals, so good luck on those.
Ooh, thank you.
I
need it.
I guess I wanted to ask you just to wrap up, like if you had any advice for any potential incoming freshmen who are going to be taking Freshman Academy. It doesn't necessarily have to be about academy, but like just, you've spent, I'm hoping the first semester at USC acclimating yourself to the culture and to your classes and such. So do you have any insight that you would like to share to incoming freshmen?
Yeah. I mean, again, I've only had a couple semesters, but I would say, again, one thing that I would really like to stress to freshmen is that it's okay not to have it all figured out when you come in here. And I just think like getting thrown into the engineering culture in general, like it is scary. And there is that stereotype that you have to be on your game at all moments. But I think just making sure to come in with an open mind, because I feel like you miss out on a lot when you have such a like prescribed plan for yourself about what you're going to do, what you're going to get involved with. And I feel like some of my best memories and best like involvements have been almost random and more spontaneous, just by like exploring my passions, meeting people through Engineering Academy or other just clubs or organizations. So I would say definitely like one of my biggest pieces of advice would just be like relax and keep an open mind, because I feel like that often just leads to like the best things that have happened to me. I guess also like that kind of falls into my advice, like to not take yourself too seriously, because we're all just freshmen, or like you will be freshmen. And like I feel like of all my years, like this will be my time just to enjoy and like to work hard, but like make sure that you're enjoying what the school has to offer, because it's all just presented to you so well, especially at USC. Like they literally lay out all these opportunities for you. And like if I was scared that I would like stretch myself too thin, like there's definitely, you need to keep that in mind, but like also just like follow your like gut and passions and kind of find like, I guess that kind of the same thing, like explore.
Yeah. Explore.
Yeah,
okay.
explore.
That's a message I can get behind. I endorse it.
It got it somehow. Sorry about that.
No, it's totally fine. Like you were just being frank and candid, and that's something I tried to emphasize during academy. So I'm glad that was also a takeaway. Crying.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great advice. I put my stamp of approval on it too as well.
You.
Double advice, double backed up. Yeah, so again, thank you for sharing your insight about Freshman Academy, and I hope post-academy life continues to treat you really well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And that concludes all of our interviews on Freshman Academy. Thank you for listening, and fight on.
And that just about wraps up this week's episode. Thanks so much for joining us. Follow us on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher. We're actually on Spotify now, so if you listen to podcasts on Spotify, definitely shoot us a follow. And we'll catch you next time. Peace out and fight on.